You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Today on our Weight Loss Wednesday show, we're going to be talking about the 7 big fat food lies. I love that headline when I came up with that. I was just thinking about like all the myths, all the things that surround, food today. It's no longer just about kind of eating healthy. It's no longer about looking for whole foods. It's not longer about really using food as our medicine. It's somehow become this strange, warped thing that what our grandparents, at least my grandparents, called food, we now have to classify as it conventional or organic? If it's conventional, is it non-GMO or just conventionally sprayed with pesticides? Where is it grown? Is it flown in from wherever? Where again, for the most part, 50, 60 years ago, we didn't have these same types of questions, or certainly not to today. I love the little meme that I've seen kind of floating around where organic foods, that's basically what it shows. And it shows these beautiful rainbow carrots. And then it says, organic foods, what our grandparents used to just call food. And that's the truth. We've somehow taken this, beautiful resource that really gives us life. And a lot of people think food's just there as a fuel source. Sure, it is. But literally the energy, the nutrients, the fiber, the phytonutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, all of those things are what build our bodies up, or they add more toxicity to it. Really, that's the bottom line. And so again, we've got this perverted, warped sense of really what food is, where food was meant to grow in soil. It was meant to get that bacteria to soak up those vitamins and those minerals. And then we put those minerals from the dirt, literally from the earth, then into our body in terms of that nutrition. And that's how we get the same energy from the earth, is that we take it through our food and also sunlight as well, that process of photosynthesis and chlorophyll and all those great things that we need to build up our own blood. So one of the things is I want to go through today what really are 7 things that are happening, and they're fairly recent, that you might at least one, no doubt about it, that has kind of slipped into your life as well, because I know they've slipped into mine. So I figured I would at least share that with you too. And these are questions that come up all the time in my practice, whether it is with one of our personal training clients, one of our nutrition clients, or one of the people I work with from a wellness capacity as well. So again, we get to see so many people. We've got so many great, questions that we use as kind of fodder for these shows, because we'll never run out. We'll never run out of these great topics to talk about. So let's get right into it now. So one of the things that I'd like to talk about, and we're going to go through 7, is the first one is this. It's just gluten-free does not mean it's good for you, right? So we're walking down and we say, oh, gluten-free cookies, gluten-free cereal, gluten-free Pop-Tarts. That does not mean that these foods all of a sudden go and become gluten-free. Because what does gluten-free mean? It just means it is the absence of gluten, and that thing called gliadin as well, typically, right? So a lot of times it's wheat-free. It's barley-free. It's any of these things that contain wheat. Well, again, just because it doesn't contain wheat does not mean it's good for us, because a lot of times they replace wheat with maybe just rice flour, and then they replace it with corn, or they replace it with a soy flour, or, whatever it might be. And all those things in themselves might not be that bad, but then they usually add xanthan gum, or they add carrageenan, or they add tapioca starches, or they add all these different types of starches, which can then gum up our intestines as well. Plus, most of these foods we're talking about are processed foods. So they're still going to kind of spike blood sugar. That's going to be a big theme that you see today. And they're sometimes devoid of a lot of good nutrients. So one of the ones that I use that I do recommend, and again, you can see this on my Instagram account, is just the gluten-free oat flour. It is one ingredient. That's so important when you look at ingredients if it's going to be processed. It means that it says whole grain oats. It's Bob's Red Mill whole grain oats. You look on the back of the actual wrapper, the thing that it comes in, and it literally says gluten-free in the front, and it says on the back, ingredients, whole grain oats. That's one ingredient. That's so important. So that when I'm making, some fun pancakes or waffles, for my girls on the weekend, I can make it with literally, again, I'll let you look up the recipe because we have 7 to get through today. But I can make it healthy. It's basically just taking oats and grinding them up and then adding other good ingredients to that, right? So although it's processed, when we talk about relatively good kind of cheats, that's a good relative one, especially when you add fruit as a topping and all those great things as well. All right, so gluten-free does not mean good for you. Number 2, salads aren't automatically healthy. Salads are not automatically a health food. And the reason I say that is this, is that a lot of times we start with this nice thing of maybe like baby spinach and some spring mix lettuce, and then we do sliced tomatoes and we do sliced cucumbers and celery and beets and all these great, really nice things. And then we drench it in whatever dressing they have. And a lot of times it's canola oil, if it's a clear one, which is not something you want to put in your body. Or it's a dairy-based dressing, which is, signified usually by the white that you see in it, right? Some type of creamy dressing. And that's not only loaded in calories, but it's a major food allergen, major food sensitivity. Again, if you don't believe that, you have to run a food sensitivity test. I'm telling you, a food sensitivity test is unbelievably revealing. You can do it 2 ways. Just take it randomly, or you can have a little bit of gluten, not a lot. You can have a lot of gluten if you want. You can have dairy, you can have eggs. Eat all the foods you want for 2 days, and then on the 3rd day, run your food sensitivity test. And that food sensitivity test will actually show you if this dairy, this gluten, these eggs are causing a delayed reaction, because it's an IgG test. And it's a phenomenal, it's a remarkable test. I honestly believe that every man, woman, and child should run it because it's great for kids as well. So just be careful that you start with this great salad that's super healthy, that you can see it growing in nature, it's whole foods, but then don't add 300, 400 calories of dressing on top of it and really gum up your digestion with all that dairy-based stuff that you certainly don't want to be putting in your body. All right, so now let's move on to the 3rd big fat food lie, and that is that fruit is fattening. And so here's the bottom line. Fruit isn't fattening, but our actual metabolic process can make any type of sugar, and that includes fruit, add fat, but only in people that have become insulin desensitized, which means that when they have sugar coming into their body into their bloodstream, that their cells are not able to uptake that sugar and use it as actual cellular energy. And there's no better example than some people eat 10, 12 plus pieces of fruit per day, and they don't gain any body fat at all, right? What's the difference? Their metabolism is running on all cylinders. They have basically like a V8 engine that just burns through that glucose and fructose very, very efficiently. Yes, they might be more active, but they also might be more of what's called the ectomorph body type, but also that their cells and their cell receptors aren't all gummed up, whether it's through environmental estrogens, it's plasticizers, it's heavy metals, it's mitochondrial atrophy, it's any one of these things, right? So the bottom line is this. In the beginning, what we do, and I share this freely with everyone, I've taught it to well over 500 health and fitness professionals before, is we remove fruit for the first 21 days or so. We do that to level back out blood sugar levels, to overall decrease food cravings in general, and then we start to add back in low glycemic berries. That works well, and then after that, we start to add in maybe a second serving of those, or we add in then additional fruits, maybe like green apple or something like that, and then we move from there. I myself personally eat at least 3 to 4 servings of fruit per day, and this is even in the wintertime, and 2 of those are going to go in my smoothie in the morning, and then I'll typically do something mid-afternoon as well. Now, during the summertime, that might go up to 6, and again, it's not adding body fat as long as I'm looking at my overall consumption of food. Because remember, fruit is used for energy. It's a fuel source, right? Fruit is basically pure energy. So you can eat berries really anytime. Like, it's great for breakfast for every human being because they're such low glycemic. But if you are going to start tapping into things like mango and papaya and bananas and things like that, you do have to make sure that you're actually metabolically active. so that's important. But fruit in itself is not fattening. It's absolutely not. And it should be part of everyone's nutrition plan. You just might have to do the removal like we do for 21 days and just up your vegetable intake. And that keeps you just as healthy. Okay, number 4, moving right along. Low-calorie snacks are not necessarily healthy, meaning like just because someone says a 100-calorie snack pack, like that's what it says on the label, that doesn't translate to healthy. Like low calories is not necessarily healthy at all. I want you to think of it this way, that 100 calories still can equal 25 grams of processed carbohydrates because it's basically 4 calories per carbohydrate. So when we look at that, we're saying, wow, this can be basically 25 grams of processed food, which will absolutely spike your blood sugar levels, which will absolutely cause you to crash like an hour after eating it and make you crave even more food. That's why usually 100-calorie snack pack, whether it's pretzels or crackers or cookies or whatever, just makes you want to eat another 100-calorie snack pack. And just because there are 100 calories, again, does not mean it's okay as a snack. You might as well just do what I talked about before, is having a bowl of berries. That will be about 100 calories for like a big bowl of berries, but you're not going to get the same spike in blood sugar because there's going to be so much fiber loaded along with it. And they're also contained with the 80-90% water, which is going to make you feel more satiated as well, because sometimes you're just dehydrated and you actually just need to drink a glass of water rather than snack on some food. So keep that in mind as well. Now, number 5, the 5th big fat food lie is, and these are in no particular order, artificial 0-calorie sweeteners or drinks are better than the ones with sugar. So we've all seen like again, I'm not going to pick on any one brand, but there's a lot of beverages out there like vitamin waters and those types of things. These colored drinks, and they contain 0 calories. We're like, oh, 0 calories. Well, then that means I can drink it because there's no calories, so I'm not going to get fat drinking it. That's not the way that we want to look at it, right? I know that we're all worried about putting on body fat. We're all worried kind of about our weight, and we do want to be healthier, and those are all great things. Like, without a doubt, I think about the same exact things that everyone else thinks about, right? I'm just trying to go about it by a little bit healthier of a standpoint. So here's the thing. We know now that when you consume these artificial sweeteners, whether it's a sugar alcohol, which can really do a number on your digestive system, or any other 0-calorie sweetener, still can spike your blood sugar levels. How does it do that? Well, your body still gets the sensation, the taste of sweet. And the worst part is that it believes that there's actually going to be minerals falling along with that sweet, because usually sweet meant fruit or something like that. And it's like, oh, your body gets all these minerals along with the fruit. But here's the problem. The minerals don't come. So your body then actually increases its cravings because it needs some of those minerals, a lot of times electrolytes, to go with all of this sugar or at least sweetness that you're getting. So not only is it contraindicated for anyone with type 2 diabetes, because that's what a lot of the studies were done with, but it's not good for anyone in general. So it still can cause body fat. It still can cause, the blood sugar levels to spike, which is, I know, insane, but that is actually, there's no way to trick the body. All right. So stop trying to trick your body. Now, number 6 is you can eat as much protein as you want and you won't get fat. Again, this is another big fat food lie. And here's the thing. Protein still contains 4 calories per gram. And although, it's not easy to eat 50 grams of protein, at like a sitting. Like that's a lot of chicken. It's a good amount of beef. Now, people can do it. And so that's only, it's a couple hundred calories. But then along with that comes all the fat that goes along with meat as well. And again, some of it could be healthy, most of it not so much. So then fat actually is 9 calories per gram. And if there's 20 grams of fat in that big monster 10-ounce piece or 9-ounce piece of protein, and you're getting, again, 10 or 20 grams, whatever it might be, well, you're going to start to add then another 100, 200 calories on top of that. But that's not the main reason. That's not the main reason. Anyone could tell you that. What a lot of people don't know, and this includes a lot of conventionally trained nutritionists, again, nothing against that, but that's just not really taught, is that